Hey, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the presentation. Thank you so much for being here. On those of you on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Rumble, KGRDB Radio. And we're live on Spreaker. And now, of course, we're live on TikTok. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the presentation. I appreciate y'all being here on this Friday. It's Friday, by the way. It's Friday. Anyway, so here's a couple things. For if you want, we want you to go to this one site. No question about it. All right. Before we do anything else, go to kgradb.com. KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. Now, I want you to go there and subscribe. They have some really fantastic shows there. The show airs as well. Now, do yourself a favor and make sure you subscribe to that network. It's very inexpensive as it is, but make sure you put Bishop as your promo code because you're going to get 30% off your subscription. So why not? But make sure, again, it's KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. And put Bishop as your promo code. Yep. And also, if you want to go to my website, you certainly can do so if you want to. It's bishopjameslong.com. bishopjameslong.com. That is the website for me. If you want to check it out, go for it. If not, that's fine too. Now, if you want to go to the church's website, that's simple too. usocc.org. usocc.org. People always say, what church? Anyway, usocc.org. That's the church. So there it is. That's where you need to go to. If you want to head on over there and check it out, that's fine. I want to remind everybody, of course, tonight we do have our night prayer as we normally do. Every Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So here's what you need to do. If you want to join us for night prayer, all you got to do is go to Spreaker or TikTok. We start at 9:50 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. And we start at 9:45 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker. And then, of course, we start at 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our night prayer. That's later on tonight. Thank you. And that's how we roll. Yeah, it's Paranormal Friday, everybody. Paranormal Friday. Now, I have a very important item that is supposed to be delivered to me. I'm working on a case right now. And so there is a lot of pretty serious material that is being delivered. Of course, it has to be delivered right during the time of the presentation. This is not the information that I want to get in the hands of door bandits that love following the UPS trucks or the what I'm talking about, the Prime trucks. They love the door bandits. They follow trucks to steal them. It's terrible. It is disturbing. But I don't know if they really want that information that's going. I mean, I think if they open up that information, that box, and they find out what's in there, they're probably not going to want to find out. It's not something like, yay, I can give this as a Christmas present. No, it's pretty serious stuff. It's a nasty case. I'm not going to talk about it. It's a very disturbing one. So if I get to notice that they delivered, I have to step out briefly to get this package so that I can start working on this information this weekend. So there we are. Yeah, I did hear about, now here's the deal with the TikTok situation. So I do understand that the Washington courts, they heard it and they said, nope, they upheld the decision to either force TikTok to sell or it gets banned January 19th. Now, really the only other alternative that TikTok has, the only really choice that they have at this point is to, which they will do. There's no question about that. They will appeal it to the United States Supreme Court. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. None. Now, the situation with the United States Supreme Court is this. They can take up the case or they can just say no. And if they say no, that's it. There's really nothing can be done. The 19th is the deadline, and that's it. There is no other appealant. There's no, there's nothing you can do. It's just kind of one of those situations. So that's the situation. It was too much to tell us. No, 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 no. I'm not going to talk about the case. No, no. This is a very violent case. This is Christmas, and there's some things I don't want to share. Um, there are some things as clergy we keep to ourselves because of the gravity of the situation. And I think that this is one of those cases where this is Christmas. We don't need to get into the negativity. It's really dark. It's pretty nasty stuff. So no, we're not gonna go down this road of having a conversation about that. So anyway, look, that's not the point of the conversation. The point of this conversation tonight is we're going to have a really cool paranormal show. That's what we're going to do, Paranormal Friday show. And just heads up, I might have to leave just briefly to go retrieve these items. All right. Right. That's true, Judy Ann. Banning a Chinese-owned media platform, but they're allowed to buy United States real estate. It's all about, I disagree. I just completely disagree with the suppression of TikTok. I think I don't like it. We're adults. If we want to use the platform, we should be able to use the platform. We don't need big government telling us, oh, it could be dangerous. We know, look, enough. I believe in freedom of speech. And so I just think this is sad that this is going down this route, considering the fact, with all due respect, Facebook and other platforms, with all due respect, certainly have been known and quite notorious for suppressing information and passing on misinformation. So let's be honest here. I mean, come on. I think it's a matter of control mechanism and lack thereof. And so therefore, because they can't control it, then we shut it down. And I just think that's wrong. Then that truly is not freedom of speech. So anyway, yeah, so here's the deal. I am on X. Now, I know a lot of people are moving over to other platforms and all this other stuff, but I'm going to stay on X. That's where I'm going to stay on. That's what I'm going to, I've been on Twitter for years and years and years. So if you guys want to follow me over there, I understand Twitter. I know Twitter. I know how to work Twitter. So if you want to go over to Twitter, it's Bishop J, the letter J long. Unfortunately, I can't get my name because someone stole it, and Twitter won't give me my darn stupid name. And that's another thing. But anyway, Bishop J, the letter J long, LONG. And I have a little blue check mark there. They verified me. So, but anyway, TikTok still hasn't. But we'll see what happens with TikTok. We don't know. It's out of our control. And whatever the situation is, that's how it goes. So yeah, make sure you follow me. Make sure you follow me on X, Bishop J Long. And by the way, you can follow me on all of my formats. Go to bishopjameslong.com. Scroll down to where it says social media links, and there you go. You will see it. I would love to find somebody on X that will give me my name. See, when I was on a show, I was on the it was called Exorcism Live. I had no control over the name of the show, and this was on the Travel Channel, which I love the Travel Channel. They're wonderful people. And basically, it was a house blessing. That's what I did at the actual exorcist house in St. Louis. And everybody just blew a gasket over it because they thought I was performing an exorcism on a person. No, it's the minor rite of exorcism. Anyway, so this person decided to, use my name, create my name, and say some vulgar things. I reported it multiple times on Twitter. Please give me my name. But they won't do it. So if you have anybody, if you know anybody who is in X, please contact me so I can have my name. It would be really nice. I would appreciate that. But anyway, that's what are you gonna do? Sean Austin, I do. Yeah, Sean is a great guy. Sean, I met him recently, and good fella, good, just a really big heart. He loves the paranormal, and I got to meet him at the West Virginia Paranormal Conference. Finally, I've known about Sean, but I've never got to meet him. So I got to finally meet him at the West Virginia Paranormal Conference. Really nice guy, just really nice. So I like Sean. He's you could when you meet people, you can kind of get an idea of. Sean's just one of those guys that he's really a cool-hearted person. So, all right. Oh, you used to know someone on Twitter? Yeah, I wish someone could help me out because I would love to have my name. But anyway, Okay, tonight we're going to talk about a really cool topic, a really, really cool topic. And by the way, I need to go on TikTok. I apologize, but we're going to have to put sub chat only on for the first hour, only because that's the only way we can control the trolling here on TikTok. And I'll open it up for everybody a little later. How's that? Thank you there, PAA. And for those of you on KGRDB Radio, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, if I say thank you, it's because my friends there on TikTok are offering gifts. So I run the show on 2 different computers, by the way. So if I don't say thank you, like Denise, if I don't say thank you, if you've offered a gift, it's because I'm looking at this computer here and I don't see it. All right. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Tonight, we're going to talk about a really cool topic. I love this topic. Every year, at this time, the beginning of December, I always talk about the Legend of Krampus. Krampus is a really, really interesting, he's also known as the Christmas devil, the Christmas demon. It's a folklore legend. And when we get into the Krampus story, there's so much information on him. I think maybe you'll enjoy it. Hopefully you will, because the story of Krampus is culturally here in the United States. We don't know a whole lot about Krampus, because it's not really it's Santa Claus, the great big jolly man who sends Christmas presents and things of this nature. But we don't know a whole lot about Krampus because it's not really something that's cultural here. However, Krampus is starting to make a name for himself, if you will. And we'll talk about that in just one second. As a matter of fact, let's do this. We have to, folks, make sure that we play some really cool, creepy music. I mean, that's what we have to do. So hang tight while I play some really neat music. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. It's royalty free. You have to say that. You can't have this story without having fun, exciting. Well, heck with it. I'll just do it this way. What are you going to do? It's a live show. Come on. What are you going to do? So hold on. Hang tight. I'm going to go here. That's where I'm going to go. Subscriptions. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I have some really crazy. I didn't even know I had this, but I do now. Okay. There we go. We'll play this. This is some relaxing, chill out music while we talk about Krampus. How's that? We should play Christmas music. Then people say, I'm going to burn the fiery pits of hell. Anyway, so again, just heads up, if I have to leave, you know why, because I got to notice that the package is being delivered. The package is being delivered. Let me see where it is. I hate this. I hate the fact that I have to deal with this, but I do. This is pretty serious. Okay. Oh, it is 6 stops away. All right. So in a moment, I will have to stop, guys. So just a heads up to get this package. Okay. Sorry, but I have to do it. So today we're going to embark on a fascinating journey into the realm of folklore as we delve into the mysterious and enigmatic figure of Krampus. Krampus is a horned figure from Central European folklore who, during the Christmas season, punishes children who have misbehaved, in contrast with St. Nicholas, who rewards the well-behaved kids with gifts. So hopefully those of you you're doing good and you're not breaking any bad rules and you are good kids and boys, then you'll get Christmas, Santa Claus. Otherwise, you will get Krampus. I'm telling you, Krampus is legit. People are afraid of Krampus. So this enthralling exploration of the legendary figure known as Krampus. So this is a creature that is in the heart of the Central European folklore. And this tale, it's a cloven-hoofed entity, It has captured the imagination for people and for centuries. So throughout our time together, we're going to delve into the historical origins, the cultural significance, contemporary influence of Krampus, seeking to understand the enduring allure of this complex and multifaceted figure. So from its roots in pre-Christian traditions and its modern-day manifestations in popular culture, Krampus stands out as a testament to the enduring power of folklore and myth in shaping our collective consciousness. So we're going to unravel some mysteries surrounding this compelling figure. Let's embark on this intellectual odyssey, if you will. So the origins of Krampus can be traced back to pre-Christian German traditions, particularly in the Alpine regions of Austria, Bavaria, and other parts of Central Europe. Thank you. Krampus is said to be the companion of St. Nicholas, and his name is derived from the Old High German word Krampen, which means claw. So the historical origins of Krampus can be, again, way back before Christian folklore and traditions. And it also talks about, it's very popular in Austria, Bavaria, Croatia, Slovenia, and even parts of Italy. And the figure of Krampus emerged from a blend of pagan beliefs, ancient rituals, Christian influences, creating a complex, multifaceted character that is really, truly deeply rooted in the culture in these regions. One of the earliest known references to a horned demonic figure resembling Krampus actually dates back to pre-Christian Germanic folklore, where tales of malevolent spirits and wild, untamed creatures roamed the wintry landscapes. Now, you got to remember, stories like this were quite frightening. You know, if you're living out in these small little towns where there are no street lights and it's very dark and it's wintry and you hear the wind and your parents are telling you about this scary monsters that go around roaming in the woods, you pretty much stay away from the woods, and you probably speak to your therapist later. But these beings were often associated with the winter solstice and the darkest, coldest nights of the year, which embodying the harsh and unforgiving aspects of nature during this time. So with the spread of Christianity through Europe, particularly during the Middle Ages, pagan traditions and Christian belief, it began to intertwine, resulting in the assimilation of pre-existing folklore into the Christian framework. So as a result, the figure of Krampus became intertwined with the Christian feast of St. Nicholas, which is celebrated on December the 6th. So in this context, Krampus is often depicted as the dark counterpart to St. Nicholas, who rewards well-behaved children with gifts and treats. Now, while St. Nicholas symbolizes benevolence and kindness, Krampus embodies the concept of punishment for those who have misbehaved or strayed from the moral path. This duality, it reflects the old age struggle between good and evil, light and darkness, that really permeates many cultural and even religious traditions. So the name Krampus, as I said earlier, it's from Old High German word Krampen, with claw. And that underscores, I think it underscores the creature's menacing and otherworldly, nature. So early depictions of Krampus portray him as a horned, beast-like figure with cloven hooves, long, pointed tongue, almost like a serpent-like. So when it flicks its tongue, it splits, in two, and chains. The chains symbolize that he's going to chain you up. He's going to punish you if you've been bad. It's pretty terrible. This is pretty. This is a good. I think that would scare any child, evoking a sense of primal, untamed power. Now, over time, the legend of Krampus became intertwined with various regional customs and festivities, particularly in the observance of Krampusnacht, or Krampus Night, on the evening of December the 5th. So during Krampusnacht, individuals dressed as Krampus, what they would do is roam the streets. And this happens even today, by the way. They roam the streets, visiting homes, and they engage in playful yet eerie interactions with the community, often involving like loud bells and chains rattling, frightening costumes. And it really is. And these traditions, rooted in ancient pagan rituals and Christian folklore, they've endured for centuries. But they serve as a testament to the enduring influence of Krampus. Now, today, the figure of Krampus continues to captivate the imagination of people all around the world, reflecting the timeless appeal of folklore and the enduring power of myth. So in folklore, Krampus is really seen as a demonic figure with horns, a snake-like kind of slowly slithering its way, through the snow. And on the night of December the 5th, remember, that's Krampusnacht. So thankfully, it's December the 6th. We're okay. People in the Alpine regions, thank you, participate in parades. And these Krampus costumes are very expensive and incredibly elaborate. So they roam the streets, they frighten, people, onlookers. Krampus, you got to remember, Krampus is this menacing, otherworldly figure, and people take it quite seriously. He is the complete counterpart to Saint Nicholas, to Santa Claus. And if you have been bad, if you have misbehaved, then your parents would always tell you that you're going to, in fact, see Krampus. And this was, so in many traditions, people taught their kids that Krampus actually, he accompanied Saint Nicholas, Santa Claus, during his visit to homes and communities. So, whereas if you are good, Santa Claus gives you gifts. If you are evil, then you get a visit from Krampus. And Krampus dishes out punishment to naughty children. And of course, St. Nicholas passes out treats and gifts. If you think about it, this is pretty cool. I'm curious, how many of you have heard of Krampus before? I would love to know if you've ever heard of this. Krampus represents a complex, a multifaceted figure. And he does serve as a symbol of both fear and the enduring struggle between darkness and light, punishment and reward. And the continued observance of Krampusnacht and the enduring presence of Krampus in cultural practice highlights the profound influence that it still has today. See, if you look at the Krampus and what children were frightened, I'm sorry. If you think about scaring the hell out of your kids about this big horn figure, this demonic figure that's going to come out around Christmas and punish you because you have been bad, well, I mean, that would terrify anybody. And Krampus really embodies the consequences of misbehavior and the need for moral order within society. So by portraying a fearsome figure that punishes naughty children, the Legend of Krampus serves as a cautionary tale, encouraging adherence to society norms and values. I wouldn't sleep. Yeah, right. I wouldn't never sleep again either. And now the observance of Krampusnacht and the presence of Krampus, these parades are going on everywhere, even today. And a lot of people don't know as far as the United States. Now, a lot of people talk about the psychological impact. And the Legend of Krampus reflects societal fears and even the human need for moral order. And the contrasting figures of St. Nicholas and Krampus embody the dual nature of human behavior, of good and evil. And there are a lot of people who think that this is just evil. Now, over the years, Krampus has gained international attention to become a popular figure in contemporary culture, inspiring various forms of artistic expression. So you can see Krampus in literature, in film, visual arts. As a matter of fact, if you've ever seen the movie 2015 horror comedy film Krampus, there are several movies that are Krampus, but this is the family. that I like the movie actually. I enjoy it. It's basically this family gets together for Christmas, and they don't really like each other very much. And this one little boy decides he's not going to write a letter to Santa. Instead, he tears it up and he rips it and he throws it outside, and his letter goes up in the sky. Well, that letter goes to Krampus. And so they had a horrible storm, a winter storm, and everybody was gone. No neighbors, no one was around. It got nighttime. One of the children decided to go down the street for her boyfriend to see what was going on, see if he had power. And it goes on and on and on. All of those that you see, those little monsters in the movie, is a form of Krampus. So this is what happened, because they fought, they argued, there was a lot of friction. They seemed to forget the spirit of Christmas. And this is why Krampus visited this in particular family. So if you've not seen it, you might want to check it out. And by the way, literary works, there's a lot of books, short stories, academic studies exploring the origins and significance of this Krampus. And I encourage you, if you've not seen it, it's directed by Michael Daugherty. I think that's what it's called. And if you've not seen it, watch it. Let me know what you think. There are a lot of festivals that's going on right now with Krampus. So there's organizations of festivals, parades, themed events. Communities, enthusiasts have embraced the tradition of Krampusnacht, staging elaborate parades and parties and costumes. And the popularity of Krampus, even in popular culture, has led to the creation and even the merchandise of collectibles featuring the iconic imagery of this legendary figure. Thank you. And Krampus is, like I said, it's been in video games, novels, media, television, so many that you can find. I think you'll enjoy it. And I think it serves as a powerful mythological symbol, embodying the consequences of misbehavior and perhaps maybe the need for moral order. But I also think it's kind of terrifying if you think about it. When you scare kids, like, you know what, if you're not good, you know what's going to happen? You're going to burn in the fiery pits of hell. I don't think that's probably a good idea to talk to kids about this. But that's what it is. That's Krampus. Krampus is a terrifying creature. So let's go into a little bit of the history, because I think that's an overview. Let's go a little bit even deeper. So he's half man, half goat, and he comes around every year to chase naughty children and even maybe drag them to his home. And the European versions of St. Nicholas have long had a scary counterpart, like Bell's Nickel and Night Reptile, which is the whole punishment of Krampus, is a character. They put them all together. And Krampus and St. Nicholas, they had some other pagan celebrations in the winter solstice. So they became a part of Christian tradition. So St. Nicholas visited children to reward them on December the 5th or 6th. And around that time, his menacing partner would visit and punish the kids. In Alpine, Austria, and some parts of Germany, I've talked about Krampusnacht, Krampus night. And this is when the adults would dress up as Krampus, and the parents had the opportunity to say, if you're not good, Krampus is going to visit you tonight. So obviously, the children would see this Krampus creature running in the streets, chasing after people. Now, there is a term called the Krampus Lauf. It's the craziest thing. It literally is a Krampus run. So if Krampusnacht was a way to scare kids and behaving themselves, Krampus Lauf, which isn't tied to a specific day, was a way for grown men to blow off steam while probably still scaring kids. So Austrian men would get drunk and run through the streets and dressed as this fearsome creature. And like Krampusnacht, the Krampus Lauf tradition comes to the present day. So the introduction of mass visual media couldn't help but sweep the charismatic Krampus up in its wave. When the postcard industry experienced a boom in Germany, and Austria in 1890s, it opened the way for Krampus karten. So these holiday cards they weren't mean. They didn't make it. It wasn't point to make you feel happy and fuzzy and oh Christmas. One's marked Grus van Krampus, greetings from Krampus, showed Krampus stuffing a distressed child into his satchel, or preparing to punish one with his bundle of birch sticks. That's what they had, folks. And many of these postcards depicted Krampus going after children with the sticks, leading them away in chains, or even carrying them off into his bag. Yeah, it is trauma. And there were also cards that were a little more adult. And Krampus cards in the early 20th century show him punishing children, yes, but also proposing to women. See, in some cards, Krampus is portrayed as a large woman whipping tiny men with her birch sticks and carrying them off in her satchel. So, in another, a smiling woman dangles a defeated-looking Krampus in the air, holding his bundle of birch sticks behind her back. And you can draw your own conclusion about the gender politics there. But so, for over a century, most Americans probably never even saw a Krampus card or even knew who Krampus was. And that changed in 2004. Art director and graphic designer Monte Beauchamp published a book of Krampus cards that helped organize an art show inspired by the cards. Now, whether or not Beauchamp is primarily responsible for introducing Krampus to the United States, Krampus has been some sort of ironic icon in America. Etsy, by the way, has a whole selection of items inspired by Krampus cards. So, yeah, it is. Some people might take it as that. It's kind of like, huh? Yeah, I'm telling you, it's kind of like it makes you scratch your head. But so if you have not checked them out, seriously, check them out. Krampus. And if you don't have time to send cards, you can always buy an ugly Krampus sweater to wear at your local Krampus party or Krampus loft. And because Krampus's popularity in the United States arguably peaked, again, with the 2015 feature, the film called Krampus. Which, by the way, should not be confused with many other low-budget Krampus movies. This movie was actually, they put some money into this movie. So it's not, there's a lot of Krampus movies that I've seen that's like really bad. This one really is not that bad, truly. And although Krampus is relatively new to the United States, this Alpine legend is the original bad Santa. So to go into a little bit more detail, he's a mangled, deranged face with bloodshot eyes, and he has a furry black body. Giant horns curl up from his head, displaying his half-goat, half-demon lineage. And behind this terror, a dozen more stomp through the snow of the streets of Austria among a din of cowbell jangles. And the creature dashes through the streets, chasing giggling children and adults alike, poking them with sticks and scaring some with the realization that they were naughty this year. Now, so what they did, folks, I'm just telling the story. I'm just telling you the history. What some parents did on Krampus loft is if a child was bad, they would send the child outside while Krampus was running around, this horrible horned creature chasing people, running around, poking them with sticks and spanking them with these sticks. So you didn't want your parents pushing you outside, because you got to think about that. If you're outside, it's completely dark. You might have the moonlight shining, and this creature comes chasing after you. I mean, goodness gracious. Well, anyway, but that's what they did. And Lin's annual Krampus parade resurrects a centuries-old tradition. So young men in town dress up as the mythical creature and parade through the streets, an ancient pagan ritual meant to disperse winter's ghost. So they march dressed in fur coats and suits, I should say, carved wooden mask and carrying cowbells. Well, the tradition, also known as Krampus Loft or Krampus Run, it's actually having a resurgence throughout Austria, Germany, Slovenia, Hungary, and the Czech Republic, and even is now starting to gain recognition in the United States. So the creature has become so popular in recent times that he has a comic book series, parties of his own, and even movies. So after all, says Jeremy Seegers, organizers of Krampus Knot Festival, which, by the way, is in Orlando, Florida. Says, why watch out when Santa Claus comes to town? Because Krampus is coming to get you. So in Orlando, Florida, it's actually picking up. So Krampus himself historically comes around. It's kind of like when you learn the history of it, people take it so seriously, and I wish they wouldn't, because like, oh, it's evil, it's the demonic. Why are you talking about it? And it's like, guys, come on, this is culture, this is history, and we're people take everything so seriously, I think, and it's like, just relax a little bit. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. So I'm just getting an update on this package that I got to get delivered. So, okay, 2 stops away. Yeah, I think some people get kind of to the extreme level, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to try to minimize it, but I think it's important to explain the history of it and talk a little bit about it. I don't think it's that bad. Okay. So while good old St. Nicholas is on hand to put candy in the shoes of good kids and birch twigs in the shoes of bad kids, Krampus' particular specialty is punishing naughty children. And legend has it that throughout the entire Christmas season, misbehaved kids are spanked with birch branches or can disappear because Krampus comes and puts the kids in the sack and hauled off to his lair. By the way, the Krampus is the yin to Saint Nick's yang. Seegers tells Smithsonian, he says, you have the saint and you have the devil. It taps into a subconscious macabre desire that a lot of people have that is opposite of the loving Christmas a lot of us grew up with. In fact, Krampus's roots have nothing to do with Christmas, actually, which is interesting. Instead, they date back to the pre-German paganism in the region. His name originates with the German Krampen. It means claw, as I mentioned. Tradition has it that he is the son of the Norse god of the underworld, Hel. So during the 12th century, the Catholic Church attempted to banish Krampus celebrations because of his resemblance to the devil. Now, more eradication attempts followed in 1934 at the hands of Austria's conservative Christian Social Party, but none of it held. And Krampus emerged as a much feared and beloved holiday force. Now, for some, the annual festival of child hunting Krampus is fun, but concerns that refugees in the Alpine towns that celebrate Krampus could find the tradition frightful has prompted some towns to actually consider taming down the horror, which we can understand. So in Krampus's scheduled arrival in the Alpine towns, its celebrating him coincides with the influx of refugees from Syria and Afghanistan. So though the festival is well loved, it gave rise to concerns that the new neighbors might be scared, of the tradition and its nightmare-fueling costumes. I mean, you come from Syria, a war-torn area, and Afghanistan, and you come into this area that's beautiful, and you think, oh, this is so wonderful. And then you see this creature running down the road with bells and scaring off kids. You might want to think, what happened here? So what happened is, rather than canceling the parades, town officials decided to educate the newcomers. And because the Telegraph, Rosina Seber writes that refugees, children in Linz, were invited to a presentation where they learn about the props and costumes and the customs, which I think is important. And Seegers likes the idea of introducing Krampus to refugees in Austria. He says, I think it's a wonderful that they that what they get, the refugees and this sort of thing, the education. You can't force people to adopt cultural traditions of which they have no basis or point of reference. So perhaps you'll be the next to catch the Krampus spirit this holiday. After all, the horrible haunt could very well be watching you. Now, though descriptions of Krampus' appearance, they vary from region to region, some things remain consistent. And this is from region to region, no matter the culture. He always has pointed devilish horns. He always has a long snake like tongue. His body is covered in thick fur, and he looks like a goat that's crossed with a demon. A lot of people talk about, have you ever heard of the goat man? Some people are saying that Krampus is kind of a rollover, if you will, into the goat man. That's the theory. I don't hold a lot of stake into the goat man. I've never seen the goat man, but nonetheless, his body and arms are strung with chains and bells. He carries a large sack or basket on his back to cart off evil children, and it seems like that's consistent on every single culture. And Krampus comes to town the night before. Remember the feast of Saint Nicholas. He visits all the houses to either dish out punishment or walk away from them. And if you're lucky, you might just get swatted with a birch branch. But if you're not, you'll wind up in the sack. And after that, your fate is anyone's guess. And that's what they were taught. So the legend suggests that you might even be used as a snack. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's pretty dark. Sometimes Krampus is accompanied by St. Nicholas, who isn't known to bother himself with naughty children in Central Europe. Instead, he focuses on handing out presents to well-behaved kids and leaves the rest up for the counterpart. So over the years, as Christianity gained popularity in the region, aspects of Krampus's appearance began to shift to fall in line with Christian beliefs. See, the chains, for example, were not originally a feature of Krampus. It's believed that Christians added them to evoke the binding of the devil. And that wasn't the only change that they made. Under Christian hands, Krampus took on a more of devilish qualities, like the basket he uses to carry wicked children to his lair. So on evening on December the 5th, with Krampus not elegantly dressed, Saint Nick pairs up with the monstrous outfitted Krampuses and make the rounds of homes and businesses. And some people exchange Krampus not greeting cards that depict the horned beast alongside festive and funny messages. Sometimes large groups of people dress up as Krampus and just run around the streets, chasing friends and even passerby with birch sticks. This activity is especially popular around young men. Anyway, tourists have witnessed this rowdy celebration, say that running off into a coffee shop won't save you from getting swatted. And the swats, they aren't exactly gentle, but luckily they're usually confined, to the rear end. Nonetheless, many people say it's all just for fun. The tradition has become an important one in many countries and has come to include even expensive handmade masks. These elaborate costumes are thousands of dollars. I mean, this is not cheap stuff. I mean, people put these parades. I've seen a parade before. If you don't understand the culture, it does look demonic. Without no question at all, it looks demonic. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It does. But when you understand the culture of it, then you can maybe get a different perspective. But let me just check here, folks. 1 second. Okay, the package has been delivered, folks. I've got to run. I'm sorry. I'll be right back. Stay with me. I've got to get this because it's very sensitive stuff. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. All right, everybody. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to go get this package that was quite sensitive, and uh, it's a case that I'm working on now that's pretty rough. So yeah. So anyway, thanks for understanding, and thanks for your patience and understanding, because I don't want yeah. So okay. So back to Krampus. So these masks and these costumes, they're pretty intense. Now, though some complain that the celebration is becoming too commercialized, many aspects of the festival, I think, endure. See, Krampus mask, for example, they're typically carved from wood. Uh, guys, I appreciate. I know. I've been doing this for 25 years. I know. I appreciate the concern. I'm good. So we're okay. All right. Anyway, so the masks are carved by wood, and there's a lot of labor that goes into this. And artisans often work for months on the costumes, which sometimes end up on display in museums as examples of living tradition and folk art. Now, it's always remarkable when ancient traditions make it to the present. But Krampus has had an especially rough fight for survival. In Austria in 1923, by the way, Krampus and all Krampus not activities, they were banned by the Christian Social Party, and their motives were a little murky. Though they agreed that the Krampus was a force of evil, there seems to have been some confusion about whether that was because of his clear ties to the Christian devil or his less clear ties to the Social Democrats. Either way, they were sure that Krampus was not good for kids, and they passed out pamphlets titled Krampus is an Evil Man. So, warning parents against influencing young children with threats of violent holiday intruder. Now, though they may have had a point about the traumatic effects of telling misbehaving children that they were going to be eaten by St. Nick's evil twin, society wasn't deeply moved. So the ban lasted for only about 4 years, and vague murmurs of disapproval continued only a little while longer. But in the end, no one could keep Krampus down. So some American cities, like Los Angeles, host annual Krampus celebrations that feature Krampus contests, parades, traditional dances, bell ringing, Alpine horn blowing, cookies, and even masks. So if you think Christmas needs a little touch of Halloween, see if your city has a Krampus not celebration. And don't forget, of course, to dress up. So let me show you a little bit of some, let's see if I can find, I can't do that. Let's see, Krampus. I'm going to show you guys. It is kind of, but some of these costumes are very, very elaborate. Really, and it is, look, it's, to me, it looks, it's demonic. I mean, there's no question about it. You can't, hold on, let's see, like this mask here, this mask alone, which is very demonic, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There it goes. Yeah, I mean, you can see it's pretty evil. I think any child would be quite frightened to see this type of creature. And I'm trying to find. Here's it. Of course, that's only the one that you saw in the movie. They have in Krampus the movie. You can get one for $80. I don't know why you'd want it. It's kind of ugly, but this is what it looks like in the movie. That's the mask that they use in Krampus. See that one there? And but that's not the most expensive one. I mean, there's um the one was for $325 that you can buy, but some of these are they can get into a couple $1,000. And here's another mask that would be considered more of the traditional Krampus, I think. Yeah, I think this would be more of the traditional, and it was just $200 there. So like this. So yeah, I mean, you can see. I think that would frighten any type of child. You see this creature right here running down the street. Yeah, I mean, seriously, if you think about that, it's a pretty terrible creature, and it's all about, you know, we in the United States, we teach our kids, you gotta get coal for Christmas or something of this nature. Well, in these countries, they teach you, no, you ain't gonna get coal, you're gonna get something else. You're gonna get Krampus after you, and that would be frightening. So I get it. I understand people does not like Krampus. It does not like implementing Krampus in the culture. For some people, I totally understand because it is demonic. There is no other way around it. Krampus is demonic, but that's what they try to do, is try to scare the kids into behaving and not getting out of control, if you will. But in Austria, I mean, the Krampus tradition was prohibited, and of course, in 1950s, they even Austria, the government of Austria posted pamphlets saying Krampus is evil, he's demonic, don't do it, it's bad for their mental health. But you know what? I kind of agree with that. But I mean, yeah, I think it would be. I think it would be childhood trauma. And as I mentioned, even in his appearance, there are variations, but really he's always hairy. He's always either this brown or black, ugly creature. He has cloven hooves, horns of a goat, the tongue, he has fangs. And like I said, the Christian church said, okay, he carries around, the chains because he's binding, it symbolizes the binding of the devil by the Christian church. And he thrashes the chains around for dramatic effect. And anyway, I don't know. But I think it's pretty cool. I think it's Krampus carton. So again, those are the cards. So if you want to go up and look up Krampus cards, Christmas cards, they're actually some of them are incredibly rare. And not only are they rare, they're very expensive. And I mean, some of them really detailed. Now, as I mentioned, in popular culture, it's not as heavy, but you do have some media in there. Krampus, the Devil of Christmas. There is a collection, as I said, of Monte Bochip in 2004 of the Krampus cards. There's Krampus, the Yule Lord. It's a novel. There's a Krampus, a comic book series from Image Comics. There's even a Krampus Carol. It's a 2012 episode of The League, and even animation. There's video games, Karn Evil. It's a 1998 arcade game, and the Binding of Isaac. There's also Rebirth, and films, as I mentioned. Krampus, 2015. It's from Universal Pictures. There's also called a Red One, Red ONE. It's a 2024 Christmas action adventure comedy. It's from Warner Brothers. I haven't seen that one. I have heard some friends who have, but The Rock is in it. So apparently, my good old Krampus makes a I don't know, a stage entrance on it. So, yeah, here's the deal. I just wanted to pass on to Krampus to you guys, and you guys can make. But I don't know if I like the idea of. I like the idea of Santa Claus with the gifts and the coal. That seems far better, far better than telling a kid some demon Krampus is going to come and put you in a sack and take you to his lair. I mean, you know, so right. Julianne says, if I saw that running down the street, I'd be calling the taxidermist in short order. Yeah, some of the Krampus cards though are pretty elaborate. You can Google. Let me do this real quick. One sec. Let me find Krampus Christmas cards. I saw one that was very expensive. I thought, you got to be kidding me. But you always will see them with that tongue and the birch stick. To me, that's it. I mean, I wouldn't want, if I had children, I would not teach them about Krampus. I just wouldn't, and only because I think it's I don't want the demonic to be in the same realm as Santa Claus, Saint Nicholas. So anyway, but you can go on Etsy if you want to, if you really want to send out Krampus. But there's this one card that I saw that I thought, that's kind of weird. But you have him; he's right by Santa Claus, and they're talking, they're drinking, and I don't like it. Matter of fact, let me see if I can take a picture of it. I thought they both look evil. I'm telling you, even Santa Claus looks evil. Let me take this picture, and you tell me. Maybe I'm missing something. There we go. Look at that. So there's Krampus and there's Santa Claus after a night on Krampus Knot. They both look demonic to me. Look at this. Don't you agree? I don't think either of them look good. And when you see something like that, I'm like, well, I wouldn't want Santa Claus to be hanging around Krampus having a nice drink. Well, that was good. How many children did you did? I'll tell you what, I got 15 children in my sack. I mean, no, that's not good. But nonetheless, yeah, boozing it up after Christmas. Well, that was a fun time. No, I didn't like that card. So I think if I had kids, I would not teach them about Krampus. But that's me. All right, I agree, Anne Marie. I agree. All right, so let me open up the chat to everybody. But that's Krampus. I wanted to share. It's important, I think, to share different cultures and different beliefs with people. We may not agree with it, and that's fine. We have every right to say I just disagree with it. But nonetheless, it doesn't make Krampus go away. It doesn't make the history go away. It's still there. But I think that the whole idea of Krampus, I don't like putting the demon attached to Santa Claus. I just don't like it, and especially as I mentioned in some stories that they do teach the kids, Krampus accompanies Santa Claus, and Santa Claus gives out the good toys, and Krampus gives out the punishment. So I just not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. But I have to always be respectful of other people's culture, even though I disagree. And I do. Okay. This is a really interesting story. I wanted to pass on to you guys and see what you guys think about this. Yeah, different views of point. That's right. Different points of view. So hello, everybody. Welcome to the presentation. Thank you so much for being here. We just had a good conversation about Krampus. And if you have any other seriously, if you've not seen the movie Krampus 2015, it's 2015. It's let me see who's in it. I forgot the actors. I watch it and tell me what you think. But understand the history. Now you have the history about it's 2015. Let's see. The cast members are Tom Ingle Adam Scott. Sorry, Adam Scott is the actor who played Tom Ingle, the father. Tony Collette, Collette, Sarah Ingle. It also stars several people who they've been around for a while. But take a look at that and see what you think. If you've not seen it, we're going to be live, of course, again tomorrow night for our open mic night. And let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you think it's really terrible or if you actually liked it. I'd be really curious. Well, no, watch the movie. It's called Krampus. It's a 2015 horror comedy movie. So if you've not seen it, take a look at it and tell me what you think. It's one of my I like the beginning of it. I love movies. I love movies that are in storms, especially winter blizzard storms. I've always liked that. There's a movie called Wind Chilled. I don't know if you've seen that one. It's called Wind Chill. That's a really interesting movie. If you have not seen it, take a look at it. It's a really cool. I think, let me just double. Yep, there it is. 2007. It is a horror drama movie, but you have to watch it very carefully because there are things you could easily miss. Well, thank you. There are things you could easily miss in the movie. So you have to kind of maybe go back and watch it again and like, oh, okay. So it's called Wind Chill, 2007. But movies like that, I've always loved movies that kind of scary movies they're in blizzard conditions. I've always loved that. So just watch it and let me know what you guys think about it. Yeah, Wind Chill 2007 and Krampus 2015. So let me know. This is interesting. What do you guys think about this one? I want to share this with you. I saw this. I don't know about this, and this is kind of strange. This is by Pandora Dewan. Pandora Dewan. And it says here, it looks like smoke. Mysterious chimneys spewing shimmering liquid discovered at the bottom of the Dead Sea. Says here, when you purchase through links, here's how it works, blah, 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 blah. But scientists have discovered white smokers, is what they call it. Towering salt chimneys spewing clouds of shimmering fluid on the bottom of the Dead Sea. And they appear to be harbingers of destruction. The submarine pillars, which reach up to 23 feet in height, could serve as an early warning of life-threatening sinkholes, which are common in the area. To date, no one can predict where the next sinkhole will occur. Christian Seibert says, for the environmental research in Germany who led the study, said this makes the white smokers an outstanding forecaster tool for locating areas that are at risk of collapse in the near future. The Dead Sea is a landlocked salt lake that borders Jordan, Israel, and the West Bank. Famed for its salinity, the Dead Sea is almost 10 times saltier than the ocean, and it's getting saltier. For the past 50 years, the Dead Sea has been shrinking rapidly due to local drought and evaporation. This has also caused the water table to drop, making it increasingly difficult for neighboring countries to access groundwater resources, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. What I'm going to tell you in a moment, you're going to be thinking, okay, what? Well, people have too much time on their hands. Anyway, while investigating these reserves, Seibert and a team of divers came across the sunken city of a pearly white pillars, spewing a shimmering fluid, and most were between 3 and 7 feet in height, though some reach an impressive 23 feet and stretch up to 10 feet in diameter. So far, they are unique and never observed worldwide before. Upon investigation, it became clear that the shimmering liquid was groundwater from surrounding aquifers that had penetrated the thick layers of salt-rich rock on the Dead Sea floor. However, even this salt-rich water is not as salty as the Dead Sea. It looks like smoke, but it's saline fluid, Seibert said. So here's the problem. And I thought there's no way people believe this. It's true. People, I'm trying to be, okay. So the new theory now is that there are aliens who are living underneath the floor of the ocean, and that these smoke, if you will, that's coming from the ocean floor is actually air bubbles coming up from homes, from a building, from places where UFOs are actually living. So now, you know how a chimney. So you've heard that. So now, you know, when you have a chimney, the smoke comes out of the chimney. So when you see, there's a chimney there. So now people are saying that these are clear indicators that there is a UFO, there are aliens that are living underneath the floor of our oceans, and it's an entire city, an entire area, and that these smoke basically coming up from the bottom of the ocean. The water bubbles, really what it looks like, is actually pressure, air pressure coming up from buildings. Oh, come on. You can't. Come on. So you think. All right. Well, some people believe this. Some people are hardcore about this, and you're not going to convince them otherwise. But they truly believe that these bubbles that's coming up from the ocean floor are, in fact, air pressure, air pocket pressures coming up because there are entire cities, buildings, a whole entire, basically, network, if you will, of civilization underneath our ocean floor. So anyway, I just wanted to pass that on. There are aliens in my fridge. They ate the rest of the pumpkin pie. Yeah, I tell you what. There you go, guys. So you can take that with a grain of salt, literally, no pun intended. But you can. Anyway, listen to this. I want to share this story with you. Speaking of craziness, well, thank you very much. This is by Jess Sims, and I thought I got to share this with you guys. I've got to share this. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the presentation. I'm Bishop James Long. Appreciate you guys being here. If you want to go to my website, very simple, bishopjameslong.com, bishopjameslong.com. If you want to go to of course, our network that we work with, it airs here on the show, on the network, it's kgradb.com. KGRAD as in dog, B as in bicycle.com. Make sure you subscribe, put Bishop as your promo code. You're going to get 30% off your subscription. And also, don't forget, I'm not leaving, so we got plenty of time yet. But don't forget, we are going to have night prayer, and we start at 9:45 on Spreaker, and of course, 9:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on TikTok. So just keep that in mind. Okay, this is by Jess Sims. The creepy cryptids from Appalachia you probably have never even heard of. Says here, you don't want to run into these creatures in the woods after dark or ever. Now, I have spoken to people who live in these mountains, and they would absolutely tell you 1,000,000%. And these are people who live there. You do not go into these areas at night. Thank you, guys. Thank you. They absolutely, and they are very serious about this. They don't joke around. In July 2004, Dakota Cheeks and Ricky Joyce were hunting in a remote area of Breckenridge County, Kentucky, when they found one of their dogs unalived. And based on the condition of the body, it was clear that no normal predator had unalived her. I'm not going to say what happened. It's pretty terrible things, but obviously it had to be man-made or creature-made that had two hands and fingers. Let's just put it that way. So they went around the area to try to find this creature that was responsible for this. The first day, their search was fruitless. But on the second day, around dusk, they said they came across a massive figure, too big to be a person, as Cheeks described it, in an open field just past a cemetery. It was at least 9 feet tall, with white fur and long talons. It says when it saw them, it let out an ungodly curling growl, gut-curling growl, and charged them, sending them running for the safety of their cabin. So this might sound like a run-in with a particularly aggressive Bigfoot, but while Sasquatch encounters are common in the Appalachian, Dakota and Ricky had come across a different local legend, the sheep squatch. I'm convinced there's too much moonshine in Kentucky. Yeah, I'm yeah. Here's the deal. I'm open-minded about Bigfoot. I'm open-minded. I am. I've spoken to people who I absolutely are convinced that they're convinced they saw something. But sheep squatch? Anyway, its name reflects its appearance, combining the large, hairy, bipedal form of Sasquatch with a woolly white fur and curving horns of a sheep. So, sheep squatch is just one of many names given to a group of cryptids collectively referred to as white things. Other monikers for the creature include white devils and devil dogs, and they are consistently reported as having white fur, long claws, sharp fangs. Beyond this, the details vary. They could be canine, feline, hominid, with the latter variety often having a pair of single pointed horns. Anyway, reports of the white things occur all across Appalachia. And one early encounter out of West Virginia dates back July of 1929, where miner Frank Kozol was walking home from work through the woods of Morgan's Ridge. And in the book, The Telltale Lilac Bush and Other West Virginia Ghost Tales, Kozol's daughter recounts how her father was attacked by a white furred creature the size of a large dog with a head, huge head, and tail. Kozol's attempt to fight it off were futile, so he fled to the boundary of a nearby cemetery where the beast suddenly vanished. Kozol had felt the creature's teeth and claws pierced his skin, but when he looked himself over, he didn't have a single scratch. Author Rosemary Guiley, I was a friend of hers, she's passed away, includes a similar incident in her book Monsters of West Virginia. In the late 70s and early, a group of men were deer hunting when they heard a scream like a woman in agony. Suddenly, a white thing leaped out of the brush, tackling one of the hunters down a hill. The beast had disappeared by the time his friends found him on his back, punching the air. Though he was unharmed, he insisted he had not only felt the animal bite him, but had felt his entrails snapped out of his body. So white things sightings are particularly prevalent in rural West Virginia. And centering on the same area of Mason County that the more famous cryptid Mothman calls home. Another sighting included the Guiley's book was reported in 1994 by former Navy seaman Ed Rollins. He'd been searching for Mothman along Bethel Church Road when he saw a large white furred beast with a dog-like head and single point horns. And when it knelt by a creek to take a drink, thank you, it put out paws that looked like hands. Says I shrunk back into the brush and watched, afraid to stay and afraid to run. Rollins would later write. It drank for a few minutes, then crossed the creek and continued on towards Sand Hill Road. When I was sure it was gone, I turned and ran as fast as I could go back toward the pond where I'd parked. He believed he'd encountered a sheep squatch. Have you ever heard of sheep? I've heard of a lot of things. I've never heard of sheep squatch. Have you ever heard of this? I've heard of Bigfoot, of course, but I've never heard of sheep squatch. Anyway, white things are little known outside of Appalachia, but they have been reported in other areas, and there have been numerous sightings further south. They have a creature known as White Fang of Alabama. So the legend of this hairy white creature with sharp claws and a shrill cry goes back about 150 years in the Happy Hollow area. The most recently reported sighting dates from the early aughts when a camper in Guntersville State Park saw a creature they described as looking like a white tiger eating a deer. There have been white thing sightings further north. In 2008, a video of a white furred cryptid, which would have come to be dubbed the Pennsylvania White Bigfoot, was taken in Carbondale, Pennsylvania, and posted online, which, by the way, you can check that out. Now, there's a lot of people who might suggest what these things are. Many sightings of white things over the years have fueled abundant speculation about their origin. One theory centers around the connection between sheep squatch and Marion County. So the TNT area where Rollins' sightings occurred was contaminated by explosive byproducts from World War II. And it's a munitions plant. And this pollution is one proposed origin of Mothman. And some attribute this background to the sheep squatch too. Other cryptozoologists believe that the white thing is an umbrella term for two different kinds of cryptids. One, a harried hominid with horns, and the other, a four-legged beast, more similar to a cat, a dog, or a bear. A more skeptical take suggests a different kind of misidentification. Most of the sightings of white things happen at night in isolated areas, where the combination of fear and power could lead to misinterpreting a rare albino predator or something of that nature. Here's why I believe that Bigfoot exists. I know people who are very, very credible, and they have told me flat out straight that they know they've seen a bipedal 8-foot, 9-foot thing. It stood up on its hind legs. They saw the features, the eye features. It was very detailed, and there's no way that you're going to convince them that they did not see a Bigfoot. As a matter of fact, I've talked about this many times before. I had a game warden from Alaska on the show, and this was, several years ago. And I asked him about that, and I said, "Well, could it be a misidentification?" And he, like I said, I've said this before. He made a very good point. He said, "I am a native Alaskan. I have lived in the woods. I'm in the woods every day of my life. I'm a game warden in Alaska. If I don't know the difference between a Bigfoot and a bear or a moose, then I shouldn't be a game warden in Alaska." He's right. He's absolutely right. Let me turn this down. This is cold. There we go. And he's absolutely correct. He's not selling a book. He's not doing movies. But what he saw, he was absolutely convinced that that he saw Bigfoot. So I don't think we can just immediately say that's ridiculous. As a matter of fact, the Navajo Ranger, he is breaking his silence on some encounters that he recently had, which is very interesting. Let me tell you about this one. This is Four Corners Public Radio. And a Navajo Ranger breaks the silence on paranormal encounters. Stanley Milford Jr. has stories that most people would not dare to believe, it says. A seasoned Navajo Ranger, he spent 23 years exploring the depths of the paranormal on the Navajo Nation, from hauntings and Bigfoot sightings to UFOs and the mysterious appearance of coins falling out of thin air. All of it happened on his watch, and all of it left a mark. So Milford, of Navajo and Cherokee descent, is a Fort Lewis College graduate who recently published his memoir, The Paranormal Ranger. It's an account of Milford's time as a Navajo Ranger, during which he investigated supernatural occurrences around the reservation. Now, the author says he talks about his personal accounts with the Navajo creation stories. And the book is a personal account of Milford's 23 years as a Navajo Ranger. The Rangers are a part of the Navajo Nation's Division of Natural Resources, and they are tasked, of course, with protecting the lands and natural sites of the reservation. We have Benedictines, but I wouldn't be opposed to having Franciscans. He says, we were assigned to investigate cases that were out of the ordinary, he said, involving what is commonly referred to as paranormal or supernatural haunting cases, Bigfoot cases, UFOs, extraterrestrials, witchcraft, etc., and skinwalkers. He says that skinwalkers are evil spirits that can take animal form and often move on all fours. They're rarely discussed with outsiders unfamiliar with the Navajo culture and belief. The Paranormal Ranger, Milford, shares some of these guarded stories, hoping to shed light on Navajo traditions and supernatural experiences. He details an investigation he was a part of in Window Rock, Arkansas, and Arizona. He says in 2 days, there were 66 U.S. coins that would appear out of thin air, fall on the floor, or they would come flying across the room, said Milford. Sometimes they would hit us during investigations. All of those 66 coins, they all landed heads up. He says, I witnessed with my own eyes at least 10 of these coins falling out of thin air, out of nothingness. That, for me, was a life-changing experience. It made me realize that the coins had to be coming from somewhere, some other space. And from that time, this phenomenon followed me, he said, began having coins appear in my home, fall on the floor, or fly across the room. So he talks about his personal accounts on paranormal activities with the Navajo creation stories in the book. Again, if you want to take a look at this, go for it. He's absolutely convinced that they're at 100%. He believes that there are skinwalkers. And you can go to the Paranormal Ranger. That's the name of the book. Yeah, maybe we'll do that later. Right now, this is Paranormal Night. I did that yesterday. I do that quite often. I talk about my ministry, and so I do that quite often. So I did that yesterday for about 45 minutes. So this is Paranormal Fridays, and that's what we do now. Right now, today's a paranormal show. Right now, people wait all week long for this paranormal show. It's only 2 hours a week, and the rest of the week we delve into theology and all this, anything else that's on your mind. This is called the Paranormal Ranger, Stanley Milford. Okay, so take a look at it. Paranormal Ranger. It's a Navajo investigator's search for the unexplained. Again, I'm not speaking to you specifically. People think that people got to, you know what, just relax. First of all, I have two computers running at the same time, and I have multiple chats going on at the same time. So you're not the only person asking questions. So just relax with this. Everybody's so sensitive. Anyway, or not everybody, but there's a lot of people like, just relax, people. Anyway, yeah, I have a lot of chats open. I'm not necessarily speaking to you. I'm just speaking to in general. Anyway, yes, I did. Get this, everybody, get this. So, hello, this is by TK Randall, and I did see the video. It's pretty interesting. Okay, Revoked. I'm not talking to you. There's no need to apologize. You didn't do anything at all. So that's what I'm saying. It's okay. I just left Stanley a message to come on the show. Oh, in the near future. Oh, that would be very cool. Oh, really? I would love to have that. That would be amazing. Mr. Producer is saying that he knows this individual. That would be very cool. Stanley Milford, who is the ranger, and Mr. Producer is telling me that he just sent him a message. And let's definitely, yeah, if we can get him on the show, that would be absolutely amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. This is by TK Randall. Thank you, Mr. Producer. I look forward to hopefully hearing soon that he wants to jump on. We'll have to rock and roll with that. A hunter claims to have filmed the spirit of a wolf on his trail camera. Yep. Yeah, Mr. Producer says he knows the ranger. That would be really neat. So listen to this. A hunter is claiming to have filmed the spirit of a wolf on his trail camera. Something strange was recently picked up by a hunter's camera set up in the forest of Newport, Washington. A hunter, Marco McDewey, a hunter who had captured the anomaly on a woodland trail camera in Newport, Washington recently, certainly seems to think so. The clip starts by showing a number of small deer moving across the bottom right-hand corner of the frame. Then after a couple of seconds, a white wisp-like mist in the shape of a small animal suddenly appears from among the trees and moves in a gate-like manner toward the left-hand side. Says, I'm thinking it's a wolf spirit guarding my property, said McDewey. But could this really be evidence of ghostly wolf, or is there a more conventional explanation? One possibility is that the shape is actually a result of some form of camera anomaly, while another is that it is an insect, either flying past or crawling across the surface of the lens. So you can take a look at this. Yeah, matter of fact, let's do it now. Let's do it now. So YouTube, you can go to YouTube, and I'm going to type in hunter camera captures strange ghost-like encounter. Let's type, there it is. And we'll see what this does. Always a commercial. Yeah, we'll have to watch it. Well, watching it live. Live. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. I didn't want to see it because I wanted to watch it live while we do it. That's interesting. Hmm. That is peculiar. This has my attention. I encourage you to go look at this, everybody. Go look at this. This is odd. No joke. Type in hunting camera captures strange ghost like encounter in Washington woods. I know it's a lot. Again, hunting camera captures. Here, I let me just type it in. That way, hunting camera captures strange ghost like encounter in Washington woods. There we go. I just typed it in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, KGRDB radio, but that's what it's called. So it is really it's it's not a bug. That's definitely not a bug. And you can almost see the tail. You could see the tail. I can see where someone would say that's a wolf. It's a hunting camera captures strange ghost-like encounter in Washington woods. So I'm going to play this again. That is really weird. That is just too cool. That is really cool. I don't know. Watch. Tell me what you guys have to watch that. I I I can't. I can't play it on here. I don't have it saved. You know what I could do? Let me just do it this way. Maybe I can. I didn't wasn't planning on having it saved, but let me see if I can try it. Just go on there. Just type it in and just go on YouTube and you can find it because it's really interesting. That's a really interesting video. That has me kind of perplexed. Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I think that's pretty. I mean, well, you guys again. So here's what you need to do: type in hunting. Go to YouTube. Type in hunting. There, yeah, or just type in Google trail camera wolf spirit video. Seriously, you got to take a look at it. It's really interesting. Yeah, you're right. It looked like the deer actually noticed it too, didn't it? That's weird. So the deer are eating over there, but then and they look up. That's weird, man. That is interesting. That's interesting. Um, yeah. So if you have not seen, I'm gonna what I'm gonna do on TikTok. My eyes are really red because my allergies are terrible. I'm going to make a TikTok video on this. I don't, but see, that's a camera glitch. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, when I look at it, I can see. Oh no, I absolutely. If you look at it closer, because I can blow it up, and it looks like I'm slowing it down here. I can see the head. I can see the tail. I don't know. I that's good. That's good. That's a very cool video. Hmm. See the things you learn. So check it out. If you have not checked it out, go check it out and let me know what you guys think. Okay, now for those of you who are absolutely convinced, hello, that the Earth is flat. How many of you truly believe the Earth is flat? Can we please do a poll? I would love to know this on TikTok. How many of you actually believe that the Earth is flat? Let's do a poll. If one of our moderators can do this, and again, for those of you just joining us, hello, welcome. I appreciate you guys being here. So I'm Bishop James Long, and I appreciate you taking your time out on this wonderful, wonderful Friday. Happy Friday to you, wherever you are in this beautiful, beautiful world. This is our Paranormal Friday show, and we're just chilling out right now. We had a conversation about Krampus earlier, and you can always go back and watch it a little bit later. So if we have, are we going to do a poll? I mean, I can stop the show and do a poll. Let's see, I can do it. I guess I can try to figure it out. All right, let me try to do this. Oh, well, there is already one. Well, thanks. Okay, good. There's already one right there. There's a poll right there. So for those of you who are on TikTok, do me a favor and let me know. Thank you very much, Jax. And make sure you guys follow on TikTok. Follow our moderators, please. They're just amazing. So thank you. So please make sure you vote. If you're on TikTok, vote. There's the vote right there, right there. And the question is do you believe the Earth is flat? How many of you actually believe this? So you believe the Earth is flat, okay? There's some people that believe it. Really? It's square. It's in the Bible. Are you talking about the firmament? Yeah, let me know because I want to do this. I want to do we're doing a right. We're doing a little poll here, so make sure you vote because I really am interested. Okay. Yeah, no, seriously. We'll get. I'll get you. I'll give you the results in just one moment. But there are a lot of people who actually believe there. No, seriously, there are people who legit believe that it is flat. Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point. Okay. Well, okay, we have a few. So we have 55 votes in TikTok. And is the Earth flat? And basically 90, we'll just say, well, 96% says no. The Earth is not flat. 4% say yes. I've got to okay for you okay for you 4%ers. Explain that to me. Yeah. Yeah, I'm typing something here. Yeah, Messenger. No. Let's close Messenger down. I'm gonna close Messenger down. Pilots. I used to work for an airline. There's no pilot ever told me that the Earth was flat. I used to work with that airline. So right. So Dr. Campbell says our Bible tells us to consider Isaiah chapter 40 verse 22, which mentions the Earth, the circle of the Earth. This description is a good description when the Earth is viewed from outer space. Okay. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about. 'Cause I want to talk about this this issue. We're going to talk. We're going to talk scripture in just a second. A pastor he's going to prove that the flat Earth believers are wrong with an expedition to Antarctica. Oh wow! So this is by T.K. Randall. Listen to this, and then I'll get into it. Hold on, hang tight, everybody. It says here. Pastor Will Duffy is going to take 4 people who believe the Earth is flat and 4 people who don't believe that to Antarctica. The Earth is most definitely not flat, yet there are still those who believe absolutely that everything else is mistaken. The scientists are lying and that the flatness of the Earth is an indisputable truth. Well, for a while now, the freezing southern continent of Antarctica has been at the center of this debate because proponents of the idea that the Earth is flat believe that there is a giant wall of ice. It kind of reminds me a little bit like the Game of Thrones, the show. I'm just saying. Anyway, there's a big, gigantic wall of ice marking the edge of the world. And they also maintain that the day and night cycle is the same in Antarctica as it is away from the poles, even though Antarctica sees periods of several months of darkness and several months of daylight. The difficulties inherent in accessing Antarctica to check this for themselves, they argue, is evidence of the world's government's cover-up, the truth about the Earth's flat nature. So now, though, one man has taken it upon himself to settle this issue once and for all. Colorado pastor Will Duffy is conducting what he calls, quote, the final experiment by flying a group of 8 people to Antarctica. Hey, fly me to Antarctica. Come on, Duffy. 4 who believe the Earth is flat and 4 who don't. I don't believe it. To demonstrate firsthand that there is no wall and that day and night do not cycle every 24 hours like they do almost everywhere else. He says, I created the final experiment to end this debate once and for all. And after we go to Antarctica, no one has to waste any more time debating the shape of the Earth. The flight is currently scheduled to take place on December the 14th. Oh, great. Anyway, whether it will be enough to put the matter to rest once and for all, however, remains to be seen. Okay, let's talk about scripture and about how, in fact, people say the Bible says it's flat. Oh, the Bible does not explicitly say the Earth is flat. So interpretations. People are implying that the Earth is flat largely due to specific verses that use figurative or poetic language. It's metaphorical, folks, rather than literal. Okay, so for example, here are some. Let's look at some points on how the Earth is not, flat Earth. Many of the Bible's phrases that have been interpreted like the supporting the flat Earth are written in a poetic and metaphoric language. For example, 4 corners of the earth in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 12. Folks, that is generally understood as a figurative expression to denote the entirety of the earth, the expansiveness of God's reach, not a literal description of the earth. Also, the Bible was written in cultural context where poetic and non-literal language was common in describing the natural world. The focus was often on theological and moral truths rather than scientific details. So, like, for example, the phrases like the ends of the earth typically aim to convey ideas of great distance rather than geographical specifics. Some passages actually align more closely with the concept of a round earth, like Job chapter 26, verse 7, mentions that God hangs the earth on nothing, which some interpret as an indirect recognition of a free-floating earth in space. And even Dr. Campbell says in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22, refers to the circle of the earth, which some have seen as consistent with a spherical earth. So, and by the way, throughout history, many Christian theologians and even some scholars, they have not endorsed the flat earth model, obviously. Early Christian thinkers like Augustine and Thomas Aquinas did not view the earth as flat. And during the Middle Ages, the prevailing scientific view among educated Europeans, including the church, was that the earth was a sphere. So again, folks, This is my wheelhouse right here, theology. So I'm not giving theories. We're giving historical biblical fact. And theories are one thing. We can argue about what are ghosts or what are this or what are the Bigfoots. We can theorize this, but we have to understand when we're talking about scripture and the idea of the earth, even the pillars. I'm fully aware. I'm fully aware. Fully aware. I'm fully. There are some people say, no, that's not true, because it says in scripture that the earth is supported by 4 pillars. And it talks about those are in the poetic books, such as Job and Psalms and First Samuel. And these instances often contribute to like discussions on if the earth is round or if it's supported by 4 pillars. Like in First Samuel chapter 2, verse 8. The verse is part of Hannah's prayer. It states, it says like for the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he has set the world upon them. This uses metaphorical language frequently that's found in poetry to describe God's sovereignty and strength in establishing the world. This is metaphor. In Job chapter 9, verse 6, Job refers to God shaking the earth and making its pillars tremble. This is in the context of Job lamenting God's power and majesty. He's using imagery to convey his control over creation. Psalms chapter 75, verse 3 says, when the earth and all the people quake, it is I who will uphold its pillars firm. It's not talking about literal pillars. The psalmist is describing God using a metaphor to offer assurance of God's stability and sustenance of the earth during upheaval. So this is figurative language. And so hopefully, I'm sure people will say, that's not true. Okay. Nonetheless, I guess you can still believe that the earth is flat. Anyway. Yeah, some people believe it. Some people are absolutely there. No matter what you say, they're going to say, nope, absolutely. They're just convinced. They're convinced, and that's all there is to it. How do you feel about this? I don't like it. Let me share this story with you. I read this and I thought, no, you know what? Science is overreaching once again. Yeah, now Carrie, let me tell you something. Carrie has asked a very good question. Do you think the moon landing was real or a hoax? Well, you're talking to a really big nerd here. As a matter of fact, I'm such a nerd, I went to space camp as a kid in Huntsville, Alabama. And this is back in the day where, it was in its infancy. So I love space. I love space exploration. I even went to Huntsville, Alabama, by God, and I was in my nerdy heaven. I was in nerd heaven right there. Here's the problem that I have with the moon landing. Why haven't we been back? See, that's the problem. Why haven't we been back? Do you realize that the last moon landing was in December of 1972? 1972. Now, I'm not a mathematician. Well, it's 52 years. 52 years. Why haven't we been back? And even here's a bigger question. Why are we acting like we've never been? Now think about that for a moment. I talked about this a while back. We're acting like we don't have the technology to get there. So we're talking about, well, we'll be going to the moon in the next maybe a couple of years. Wait a minute. Haven't we been there in 1972? 52 years ago? And you're telling me we don't have the technology now to go again? See, that to me is a problem, isn't it? That doesn't make sense to me. They are acting like as if we do not have the technology to go there, because why would it take a couple more years to get to the moon? If we've been there in 1972, 52 years ago, think about technology. In 52 years, think about how far we've come just in computers alone. My gosh, we have a handheld computer now called a phone that does everything else. And yet, we act like we haven't been to the moon. That's very odd. That's something doesn't add up there. And I realize it's very expensive. I get it. I get it. But I just have a problem with them acting like, which they're acting like, well, it's going to take a little bit longer for the technology so that we can land on the moon. We were there 52 years ago. Something isn't right. So in that case, that brings up more concerns and questions that I have regarding the moon landing. More than anything, more than any other argument that says, I'll look at this picture and look at that picture. The biggest issue is we act like we've never been. And here we are now in 2024 going into 2025, and we still haven't been since 1972. And we're talking like we can't get there until the technology has advanced. I'm sorry, 52 years? No. You're right. Yeah, that's exactly right. That Brian says that the phone in our hand is more powerful than the computers the government used back then. So I personally believe that, and this is just based on that alone and that logic alone, I think there is some discrepancy there. I think there's some issues, and I do believe, without question, we were at a space race against Russia, and I also believe that it could have been very well established to bankrupt Russia, which, by the way, it did, because Russia was in the lead in the space race, and there was no way, technologically speaking, we were to catch up. There's just no way. And the theory is that we prolonged it and pushed it until eventually we had to say, okay, now we've got to make sure we got to be the first one. So that's the theory, and they did. They spent billions of dollars. And then all of a sudden we show up on the moon, and that was it. But I know it's very strange. It is very strange. But this is a really interesting story here. This is by T.K. Rand. It says, I don't know, we will reach let's see. Oh, yeah. The rate at which we can extend our own lifespan could soon exceed the speed at which we actually age. See, when it comes to predicting the future, Ray Kurzweil, who has written numerous books on the subject, is someone worth listening to. See, back in 1990, he predicted that a computer would be able to beat a human at chess within 10 years, which actually happened. He also predicted that smartphones would become an integral part of our lives. Came true. Okay, Mr. Producer. He's now claiming that we will achieve longevity, escape velocity within just 5 years. So what is longevity, escape velocity? It's essentially the point at which the rate at which we can extend the natural lifespan of our species will begin to exceed the rate at which we are actually aging. So, for example, you might age 1 year, but due to medical and technological advances, your lifespan might be extended more than just 1 year, essentially giving you time back on the clock. So Kurzweil himself describes this as going back in time. There's actually a lot of people who are saying that this is a real possibility. So there's a mRNA sequences is 2 days, etc. There's a lot of people who are saying this is a real possibility. I don't know. I know a lot of people are perhaps maybe a little afraid of passing away and everything like this, but I don't know. I don't think I'd want to live to 150 years, 200 years. I just I think when it's time to go, it's time to go. So for those of you, speaking of time to go, for those of you in Spreaker, I'm going to say goodnight to you guys. Yeah, it's already. I'm going to remind everybody, remember, folks, we're going to be here tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our open mic night. So we do hope that you please join us. We're going to goof off, have a good time, tell some jokes, and we're going to spend some time together. So that's 8 p.m. tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, and then Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have our Bible study. Tonight, we have night prayer, again at 9:45 p.m. on Spreaker, and at 9:50 p.m. on TikTok. We start with you guys tonight. Please join us. We'd love to have you guys tonight for night prayer. My friends, I tell you all the time, your value does not decrease based on someone's inability or refusal to see your worth. You are priceless, and don't let any troll tell you or convince you otherwise. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, Rumble, and KGRADB Radio. Good night.